All right, we'll give a few more moments for people to join here, and then we'll get started. All right, let's dive in. So welcome to Litera 1, Expert Answers to FAQs. We had a webinar about a month ago where we launched Litera 1 and brought it to market. From that, right, we got quite a few questions from all of you. And so we're doing this webinar here to go over a bunch of those and also just retouch on some of the stuff we talked about in the first webinar, right? Demo Litera 1, and then get your questions answered from some leaders across the organization here. So before we get started, just some quick housekeeping stuff here. Everything we're going to show is confidential, so don't redistribute. We will send out a recording of everything we're going to talk about here after the session's over. The presentation is scheduled to be about 60 minutes, so all participants are going to be muted for the duration of the session here. We will have Q&A at the end, so please, any time throughout the presentation, use the chat to ask your questions, and we'll get to those at the end. And again, it's being recorded, so we'll send this link out for all you to watch after. So I am Lee McGannon. I'm in product at Litera, leading Litera 1 product management here. I'm joined by Sunny, so a leader on Litera 1 support, who will go over specific support related questions that we got from each of you. And then Jenna, a leader on our solutions consulting team, who will also go over, right, how to adopt Litera 1 and all the different tactics we're using there to ensure that you really see value and success through our solutions. So again, what we're going to touch on here, first, I'm just going to go over an overview again of what Litera 1 is and the value we're trying to drive with bringing all these solutions together for you. I'm then going to do a live demo, right, go through each of the solutions and the different interfaces we're bringing these solutions to. Then we're going to get into the meat of the presentation, right, where joined by Sunny and Jenna, we're going to go over the FAQs that we got from the last presentation we did. Jenna's then going to bring you through our enablement and adoption journey, right, so how our team will help you to adopt and start using Litera 1. And then finally, the Q&A, right, the questions you're going to submit in this chat throughout the session, we'll get to those and answer those at the end before wrapping up. All right, so let's dive in. What is Litera 1, right? Litera 1 is an interface that will finally bring all of Litera's solutions, right? Drafting, but firm performance as well, right, across the Litera portfolio into one unified interface in Word, Outlook, and web, right? So you'll be able to draft anywhere, but you'll also be able to utilize those other key things, matter data from Foundation, diligence data from Kira, right? Across all these interfaces and really start to bring the Litera message together here. As part of Litera 1, we have new technology, Litera AI Plus, right? So using the newest Gen AI technology in these cloud experiences, this stuff is tailored to solve your pressing challenges, right? So it's legal focused. We have a team of in-house legal experts, we call it the LKE team, Legal Knowledge Engineering, who work diligently on our system prompts for these things to make them, particularly legal focused. We embed them in the solutions that lawyers work in today, right? So Word, Outlook, and web. We bring these to you, meet the lawyer where they work, and have the AI right there for you. And it's built on top of Azure OpenAI, so it's utilizing latest technology from Microsoft, top-notch security, etc. Today in Litera 1, we have 5 key use cases available. So the first one, which is powered by Litera AI Plus, is Ask, which is a Gen AI enabled Q&A chatbot, right, built on top of Word. You can ask anything about the document, legal specific questions, legal, general questions, questions specific to the document, and get those out, right? And that's powered by OpenAI, GPT 4.0 model right now. The next is review. So this is an active drafting experience where when you're reading deeply for meaning in a section of a document, you can highlight any term, click review, see its definition right there, right? Edit the definition if necessary, and then pin that definition along with as many others as you need to quickly have those definitions for reference right there. So instead of you're on page 50 of a document, you don't want to scroll all the way back up to see your definitions. The definitions are pinned right there for you as you hop along that document. And you can always review them right there. Proof is our contract companion experience reimagined within Litera 1. So at the final stages of a document, you need to review all the issues that could have popped up before you send it off to the other side. Proof will identify each of those issues and allow you to fix it before you do that, right? So it's kind of a final checks before you send it back. Repair, again, fits in that check workflow. This is DocX tools reimagined within Litera 1. And this repairs all the common document issues we see within Word before you, again, want a really polished document that you send off, formatting errors, etc. Fixes all of those. And then finally, compare. So this is our market-leading comparison solution that compares different versions of documents, right? Generates a red line for you. And it's now actually enabled with another Gen AI feature called Compare Summaries, where instead of having to go through each specific thing of the red line, you can just click a button and get a list, right? A bulleted list of substantive changes between the versions at hand. So how do we package these different features I just mentioned and commercialize these and go to market with them? We have Litera Draft Base, which is really focused on Compare. So many of you have Compare Desktop today. This is going to expand the Compare experience across all these different interfaces. So you have Desktop, but you also have a new modern Office add-in within Word, same within Outlook, and then enable you with Compare for web in a web browser, as well as server if you do want to utilize our APIs. Litera Draft Pro builds on top of this and brings in all those rich check experiences as well as the Gen AI enabled features, right? So you'll see proof, repair, as well as ask, the Q&A experience I mentioned, the compare summarization feature, and then additional compare enhancements. So today we have one-to-one compare available, one-to-many compare available, but this new web experience also has many-to-many. So you can compare as many documents to as many other new versions as you want right at once, and they'll all compare concurrently and get you all those red lines right away. Coming soon, we do have other check experiences, right? So the stuff that exists in Litera Check today, NTD, Litigation Companion, and Best Authority, they'll be coming into Litera 1. Currently, they do still sit on the desktop, but Pro is really your proofing and checking experience on top of Compare. All right, so now it's time for the demo. So let me hop in and show you what these solutions actually look like today. Okay, so I'm going to go really quickly into Word over here. And here you can see the Litera 1 task pane available right here on the right. So this is Ask, the Q&A functionality I mentioned. And right here, I'm going to ask anything about the document. So if I can spell. So here I ask what the purchase price is, right? It's going to identify this, right? And come back with the response. It also gives me a source, so I can hop right to where this is within the document. Okay. Also, it gives me a bunch of recommended prompts. So based on this, and this is where we've seen a lot of success over other, more general Q&A bots, is because we have a legal specific system prompt, it knows to give pretty detailed and legal specific follow-up prompts here versus another general one might give you, okay, what's the purchase price? What currency is the purchase price in, right? This knows exactly what a lawyer would ask next and identifies those. So that's the ask function. The review one that I mentioned for active drafting, right? Say I'm down a bunch of pages down past the definitions and I want to understand what the term closing date is. I highlight the term there, I review it, and you can see its definition has popped up right here to the right. It also, highlighted in blue here are all the other nested definitions, right? So closing date means the business day. I want to see what business day means. That pops up. I can pin this and save it for later, right? I'll pin business day as well. And so again, instead of having to go all the way back up and read what these definitions mean, I have them right there, as well as say I want to move on from this section and I'm down a few more pages, I still have these pinned right here. So I can save those and go back to them as needed. Proof. So say I'm done, with this draft of a document and I want to polish it up before I send it to the other side. This is going to identify all of those common issues we see, right? And let me fix those before I do. So the most important issues we see a lot of times are defined term issues, right? And you can see here, bad actor. It's used in the document, right? It's in quotes. And it's referenced by 2 terms, but it doesn't actually have a definition in the definitions table up top. So I'm going to define this here. Bad actor means Steven Seagal, right? I'm going to define and insert that. And you can see it pops right into my definitions up top as expected, right? Alphabetical and sorted that way. The document then scans again, and that's now resolved. So that issue no longer exists. And you can see, before you send this off, going down every single issue listed here and, either confirming them or ignoring them as you go, and feeling really, really good about this document before you send it off. Finally, repair is going to fix all the common formatting issues we talked about. So, font type issues, if there were Times New Roman mixed with Arial, it would conform to the most used font throughout the document. Font type and font size as well. Cleanup formatting, so if this document was originally a PDF and I converted it to Word, this would clean up all the common errors we see in that process and make it a really polished looking Word document. And then finally, just kind of more of the editing and revising documents issues here, highlighting empty paragraphs and graphics. So you just click each of these, it'll do a document check and clean up the document live for you there. Finally, compare. As mentioned, right, if I had made edits to this document, I could select the current one, select the modified, the new version, and then compare those 2 documents and generate a red line. And that's actually why I'm not doing this part of the demo, is I'm going to show you that experience in Outlook here. So this is Word. We also have the add-in available in Microsoft Outlook. And here you can see I sent the original document as well as the second version. I can take both of these attachments right within Outlook and run this comparison live here. So I'm going to do the original. I'm going to select the second one. Now I can view my comparison. I can download it. I'm going to view it for you. All right, let's see. Pull this browser window over. All right, and now you can see there's my change list, right? My red line right here. And this is the summary feature I mentioned. So instead of going through, right, this is a short list of changes, but if it was quite long, I could go over to summary, generate the summary. And this is going to pop just the changed version, so not the whole document, but just the red lines, up to OpenAI and bring this quick bulleted list back down. So you can hear consolidated summary. I can copy this to clipboard. I could send it in an email back, right? And this feature, right, is available in Litera 1 for Word, had I opened a red line up in browser, Litera Outlook, and then also compare for web, which I'm going to show you right here. So if I go to compare at litera.com, this is the web experience of compare. So Pro, you get all these AI features I'm going to show you. Base, you also get everything I've shown. You get the new add-in in Word, that new add-in in Outlook I just showed, as well as this web experience here, which, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to browse a bunch of files here, and I can show you our bulk comparison feature. So downloads. Okay, so I selected 4 documents there. I'm going to select 4 other documents here. I can compare all of those concurrently. And so again, this is a new feature only available today in this compare web experience. So instead of having to do every different comparison one by one, I can get all of these red lines at once, save all down, and move on with my day. So we see that being a huge time saver for lawyers, as well as the Outlook add-in, right, where you could see, if I just pop that email back up, getting an email from the other side, and really quickly, instead of having to open that Word document up even, just being able to select that attachment, compare it to your original, and then boom, you have the red line right there. You could open it up in summaries, copy this summary of changes for your email back, and save quite a bit of time from the current compare desktop experience. But with all that said, you'll still get that compare desktop experience along with all these new ones. So I will go back into the deck now. All right. So how do you get started with all these? Both of those add-ins are available right within Microsoft App Source. So you go into the App Store, you click Get It Now right there, and it takes about 1 to 5 minutes to install these and get going in Microsoft Word and Outlook. So super quick setup and super easy administration too. So whether you're a big shop that has an IT team dedicated to doing all this stuff, or just single lawyer shop, you're going to have a really simple time administering all of your users here, as well as the features. So all these features here to the right, just little switches that you can turn on and off, and manage all of your Litera solutions from one unified interface here. We've also heard, some firms are more open to using AI than others. For those that are, a little more concerned about AI today, we have an AI switch right there. You can turn that on and off as well, and I'll turn all AI features off for your users if that is your wish. So moving on to the FAQs, I'm going to start here with features and functionality before I pass it off to Sunny. So what LLMs does Litera AI Plus utilize? So today for our ask and compare summarization features, we are using OpenAI's GPT-4o model. We are evaluating, one, we'll always want to use the latest models that, work the best for our users' needs here. So we'll always be looking at that stuff and considering changes. But 2, we want to evaluate ways to open this stuff up if needed, right? If we need multi-model approach, or firms want to connect their own models, that is stuff we're thinking about over time here. So it's not going to be available right away here. We're going to stick with the OpenAI models we're using, but in the future, that is something we'd like to evaluate. Does compare function within Litera 1 use a work share engine or a compare engine, or a combination of both? So the compare functions I showed you, right, within the add-in and web, all of those use the compare engine. So used to be Change Pro, right, and we've done quite a bit of work improving that engine. One of the big things and benefits of doing that is it's the same engine that Compare Desktop uses. So we have a team dedicated strictly to engine improvements, and we're always working to make Compare better and our results more accurate, faster, etc. As we make those improvements, they're going to affect all of the stuff I showed. Compare Desktop, Compare Web, and Compare in the add-ins. And so consolidating onto that single engine is huge and helps us really focus and see the incremental improvements across all the solutions you'll be using as part of Draft Base, Draft Pro. Is it possible to have multiple rendering sets for users? So this is not available today. So in the solutions I showed, rendering sets are not there yet, but that's something we're shooting to get in for Q3 or Q4 of this year, because we do know a super important feature that our Compare Desktop customers use today, and we want to get that parity up there in these experiences. Can Litera 1 clean metadata from documents? So this is the key use case for our metadact feature today, which I'm sure many of you have. We are going to build a new experience within Litera 1 called Clean, Litera Clean. and that will solve this use case, right? So current timing for that, we're shooting to get, you know, a first version of Clean out to the market in about Q3, and then we'll continue to build feature set, kind of like what we're doing with, you know, the rendering sets and compare. We're going to shoot to get something out for Clean, right? A first version in Q3, and then build upon that and really get, you know, a rich experience that even exceeds performance in MetaDeck today over the quarters after that. So look out for that. Clean will be coming out imminently here. And then how does Litera One overlap with Peppermint Connect? Is the plan to replace this? So there is within Outlook, right? There's some overlap with Peppermint Connect. We are working to actually bring Peppermint Connect into that Outlook add-in, and that again, we're shooting to do that in Q3 of this year. We will not force any users to or customers to move away from Peppermint Connect onto that Outlook add-in immediately, right? But that would be something we'd look to do over time, right? So because we do want to consolidate people onto the Outlook add-in, we think you'll gain the most benefit from being in these add-ins where all of our solutions are coming in and benefiting from all of that integration we're doing across our Litera portfolio. So the mechanics of that we're still working out, but rest assured that you use Connect today, you can continue to use that, and then eventually you will get onto an even better add-in there that has, you know, all of your Litera solutions. So that is the plan on that one. All right, so I think that's it for features and functionality. We're then going to move to installation and administration, and I'm going to pass this off to Sunny, our leader of support.
Thank you so much, Liam. So I'm going to cover a few of the frequently asked questions that we received over in support. I know Liam had covered some of this in his demo, but I'll go over them again in a bit more detail. So the first question we have here is, how do I install Litera One? Liam kindly showed us that this is available through the Microsoft App Store, and you can also install these through Microsoft Word and Outlook. Very simple. You just go to the ribbon of the Home tab, and there is a button called Add-in, or in Outlook, I think it's called All Apps, and then from there you'll be able to do a search of Litera One. Go ahead, download it, and it takes around about a minute to 5 minutes at most, but really quick and simple. And then you'll see it appear in your ribbon, and it will show you the Litera One logo, and it will say Litera One for Word or Outlook. The second question here we have is, what is Litera One Admin Center and what can it do? Again, Liam showed a couple of screenshots of this, and what it is, it's for the admin to manage users. So if you have any additional new users who you want to onboard to use Litera One, that's where you go ahead and add the email address in. Or if you have anyone who might have left the organization, you can go ahead and remove or disable that user too. Again, if you're a firm that who be skeptical about using AI or trialing it out, you can toggle the features, all or some. That's done through the admin center too. And then finally, you are able to select your DMS that you want to use. So currently at the moment, we support iManage and OneDrive, and you go ahead and populate the details in the admin center. And the next slide, so authentication and security. So the first question we have here is, does Litera One require a specific Microsoft 365 subscription? It does not. However, if you want to utilize full single sign-on functionality, you do need to be using Entra. That's currently the only SSO method that we support at the moment. There may be plans later on supporting others, but at the moment it's just Entra. Secondly, following on from the SSO question, can it be accessed without? You can indeed. So all you need is an individual Microsoft account used to authenticate and verify that you have a Litera One subscription. And that's very simple. You can just go onto, I think it's signup.live.com and sign up using your existing email address there in order to convert it into a Microsoft account, and then you'll be able to benefit from Litera One. And then lastly, we have here on this slide is, how does Litera One ensure the security and privacy of my data? So Litera 1 is an AppSource approved Office add-in, and it underwent rigorous testing during Microsoft registration process to ensure that we met all security and privacy standards, and they were all met. Also to mention that the application also hosted in remote Azure data centers, which deliver industry-leading resiliency and security. So rest assured that we take security and privacy very seriously. And then the next slide is on integrations and compatibility. Does Litera 1 integrate with my DMS? I mentioned this a few moments ago. At the moment, we support iManage and OneDrive. However, due to popular request, and we've had this question asked quite frequently, is there going to be support for NetDocuments? We are working very hard to get this over the line, and we should be able to see something in Q3 in terms of availability. So rest assured, for those guys who are using NetDocuments, we're working hard on it. Second question on here is, does Litera 1 integrate with Compare Desktop? These are two separate products. Litera Compare Desktop is a Windows application, whereas Litera 1 is a web-based add-in. We are looking to improve the desktop experience and for it to be intertwined so that the user has how do you call it a great experience using both applications. And the third question on here is, does Litera 1 integrate with Salesforce? At the moment, it does not, but in the middle of Q3, we will integrate with Peppermint, which is Litera's own CRM that is purpose-built for the legal industry. Fourth question on here is Litera 1 Mac compatible? It is indeed, yes. You can access Litera 1 wherever you have a Microsoft 365 subscription included on your Mac. And lastly, the last question on here is, does Litera support non-English languages? So whilst the user interface is English only and Compare runs best in class across all languages globally, we are looking to add some support for other languages. We're looking at French, Canadian, and Spanish, and we're looking to get that implemented in Q3. So those were the questions that we had that were frequently asked for support, and I will pass over to Jenna. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sonny. All right, so we're going to get into adoption here. So again, Jen is a leader from our professional services organization who leads adoption of Litera 1, and she's going to go through a little bit what your journey will look like. So thanks, Jenna.
Thank you, Liam. And thanks, Sonny, for walking us through those questions as well. So hello, everyone. Thank you for being on today. Yes, so in terms of how we're talking about adoption, enablement, even onboarding, our team is really here to be your partner, right? So as you come on board with Litera 1, whether you're starting fresh and that's one of the newest things that you have here from Litera, or you're coming from another product, we're here to partner with you. So we have a plethora of resources, including working closely with our professional services team, or working closely with my team, which is the solutions consultants. And so that could be looking at a variety of different resources. So maybe that's getting prepared to launch with an implementation, looking at the different feature matrices between the two different products or 3 different products, or however you're looking at that. Guides to help you get started, guides to help you with change management. Maybe you need some assistance with learning and training. Maybe you're not prepared to build all these new training materials yourself. That's okay. We have that on our team as well. So we have live training courses available at Litera University. We have training videos that you can either access via Litera University or store within your own LMS. We have train the trainers. We have quick tip videos. We have FAQs. We have e-learning courses, again, out of Litera University, or SCORM files that you can use within your own LMS. And then again, you have us. How do we come up with an adoption plan? What's our 90-day plan to get us moving from one product to Litera 1? How can we get people excited? Maybe we come on site, we do Litera Labs or innovation days with you. There's a lot of different ways that we can partner closely with you. One thing that I wanted to call out here that's a part of the slide is a few people who have worked with us who've been really, really excited partnering with our solutions consultants team. It's enabled them to feel a lot more empowered and supported as they go through the adoption process. Again, whether that's from a virtual perspective, in person, we're here to help. Excited to connect with you all and learn a little bit more about how we can support you individually. If you're curious about the exact resources that you might need to, or some links that you might need to access, Liam, we can move ahead. We have a couple things available to you. So you might have some questions as it relates to just general customer success, or you don't know where to go. Start with your CSM. So you probably have a dedicated CSM. If you do not, totally fine. Go to success@litera.com. If you're struggling with some technical items, if you can't quite get started, if it's not appearing as simple as we talked about today, please reach out to our customer care team, Sunny's team at support@litera.com. I mentioned Litera University. That's our LMS where we host our quick tip videos, our training resources, our e-learning courses. Their link is available there. We also have our support center where you can learn a lot more about user guides, QRGs, quick reference guides, product documentation. That link is available there. If you're hoping to get started with my team and want to have an adoption plan, again, I'm going to send you back to your dedicated CSM or that success@litera.com. Pretty much that's the best place to get started, is right there. And then lastly, if you have questions around your renewal, around your subscription, head over to the renewals matter at litera.com or your dedicated CSM.
All right. Thank you so much, Jenna. So with that, we're going to go on to the final segment here on Q&A. So we did get some questions in the chat here. The first one I'm seeing, do you have getting started guides in a security white paper? We do indeed. So we have quite a bit of documentation that, one, you can work with your account manager or sales representative to get, and two, as that's initially, and once you do get on Litera One and you need adoption resources like Jenna just showed, or any technical questions, etc., all of our dedicated support professional services team will be there to guide you throughout that process. The next one I'm seeing is, what do I do if the admin is wrong or if the admin changes? Sunny, do you want to take this one? I think you have probably dealt with a few cases here, right, where the admin initially was either wrong or they get onboarded and then they want to change their admin. How would you advise customers go about that?
So the most simplest and straightforward way is for the current admin to add the new intended admin, if they're not already in the tenant is to promote their role. So in the tenants we have specific roles. So you have a user and admin. So if that person still exists, if that person exists in the tenant, you'd go ahead and simply just change their role to admin. If they're not, then you can go ahead and just add the user anyway, and then do the change for the profile afterwards. If you do run into any issues, but that should be straightforward anyway, you can email support and we can get that taken care for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunny. We got another one here. I think this is for me on the language piece of it. So language compatibility within Litera One and different features, how they interact. So the one thing we mentioned on timing there of Q3, Q4, trying to get more languages in, that's relating to the UI itself. So when you're in Litera One, whether on web or the add-ins, right now we only support English there. We're working very quickly to try to get a language picker that would allow you to change that, French Canadian, Spanish, etc. And that would convert the UI components into that native language. For the solutions themselves, it's a little trickier to give one answer. And so compare actually works just as compare desktop does across any language. So if you have a Spanish document or a Chinese document, etc., you can actually compare that, and the result will come out really, really well. So compare works well across languages globally today. And then our new ask feature actually does as well. So again, you can ask in any language or ask about a document in any language, and you will get consistent answers there with the Q&A function. So a really good question there, and thanks for having us elaborate on the language piece, because I know it is a little tricky, confusing at times. Let's see. Lainey, is there anything else we're seeing in the chat or that we should touch on before we let our audience go here?
It looks like there is one question. Let me copy and paste this. Oh, here, let me just read it to you.
Okay.
So on the DocX Tools desktop install, there are many customizations. Is there a plan to make any of those available through Litera 1?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So DocX Tools itself is still outside of Litera 1. It's going to sit on the desktop. It is quite a robust platform that we're going to have to work really hard over the next year plus to get into Litera 1. What we do have in there today in the repair function is DocX Tools Companion, right? So the lightweight features that are most used by lawyers versus document specialists at firms. And so those customizations, they would take time. So I would say you could see those coming into the platform in the next 6 to 12 months, but they're not necessarily our top priority as we continue to build out, breadth of features here with things like create, again, like I mentioned, Metadact, now clean coming in. Those would be things we try to knock off first and get into Litera 1, and then we look at, the more detailed settings like that and really trying to up the parity game there.
Liam, do you mind if I chime in here as well? Yeah, if there's specific customizations you're concerned about, or you want a little walk through exactly what your process is, reach out to your CSM to that success@litera.com. You can work with an SC to walk through your exact workflow. Maybe there's another tool that we have or that you have that can accomplish the same thing. So it's a great opportunity to review what workflows you have and understand what may need to move into Litera 1, what may stay with that DocX Tools desktop application for the time being. So please reach out to us so we can walk through that specific use case with you together.
Awesome, thanks, Jenna. All right, Lainey, anything else?
I guess I'd open it up to anyone attending. If there are any other questions, feel free to submit them in the questions chat now. As of yet, though, that was the only question. Oh, Jenny says thank you for that answer. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming in.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining today. I hope you found the session informative. And if you have any questions at all, reach out to either your CSM or utilizing the links that Jenna showed here. Any one of these emails and a dedicated Litera representative will reach out and help you get along your way. So thank you all, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.